All right. This should be set. I think I've published it wherever I would want it to go. That's on some Discords. And I'm just going to do a quick audio check before we get started, at which point I'll refresh the screen and be on our way. So let's see how we're sounding on YouTube. I think I'm hearing myself. It's good. And I'll just do a quick check on Twitch. Hello, Andromeda Lady. Thanks for joining again. Let's see. Yep, so seems like I'm audible on Twitch. Somebody could confirm that. That would be great. Yep, I am audible on Twitch. Awesome. Haha, Card Troll, thanks for joining. Great. Okay, with that in mind, let's get this going. I'm gonna hide my windows here real quick and reset the screen, and we'll be right back. All right, hello, thanks so much for joining for another stream, another B3D and Chill stream. That stands for Blender 3D and Chill, in case you didn't know, or in case you were wondering. Today we'll be picking up where we left off on the previous stream with this Drive-Thru. Now, if you've been joining us so far, or you're watching this back, you may be wondering where we started and what we've been up to, so I'll walk you through that quickly. I'm going to switch to Eevee from Cycles just so that we can have a bit of a smoother walkthrough. Brilliant. So we first started this series with modeling this speaker box, which I can't seem to click on for some reason. There we go. So we first started this series by modeling this speaker box here from a Drive-Thru, and it started with this photo that I took while I was on a walk of, well, that same speaker box at a Drive-Thru. And when I walked past this, I knew that I wanted to model it and that it would be fairly simple, and so I brought it into Blender, and voila, I did just that. Over the course of about 2 hours, I would say. So 3 streams worth of me talking through this process, which is not bad. I'm sure if I weren't walking through it, this would have happened a lot quicker. And then last stream, I decided to take it one step further and make it a full walkthrough. So that's where we left off. I brought 2 LiDAR scans in, taken with my phone. LiDAR, if you're unfamiliar, stands for light detection and ranging, and essentially it's a laser that is shot out of the iPhone that sends back information about color and distance from the point at which the laser touches down. That's a very sort of high-level overview of what's happening. So it's just scanning. These are photo scans, photogrammetry, as you may have also heard it called. This is another such scan that I took right outside my apartment. I walked around this bin for about, I would say, less than 20 seconds, and then just processed it on my phone, exported it into Google Drive, brought it in during last stream. So nothing fancy. I mean, it looks good from a distance, and it does the job. This texturing here is something that we can fix. I don't know if I'm going to bother with that, but I mean, it looks pretty great. Let me make sure we're on the right screen. Perfect. So let's continue. I think for this one, just because my voice is going and it's been a bit of a busy week, even though we're only on Wednesday, I I might keep it a bit more quiet than last time. I'll just get started with adding in some details and some basic colors, but nothing too fancy or not committing to anything just yet. Something I do want to do is maybe add some foliage here, since I am fortunate to have the Grassfold add-on, which would allow me to do that. I've just accidentally duplicated that trying to delete this. And I'll also try to keep, maybe for future streams, from using paid add-ons or resources, just so that if you're watching this and you're new to Blender, or you don't have these add-ons or resources, you can follow along or get the general idea of what I'm doing. And one thing I did want to mention is I think last stream I said that the app with which I scan these was free, and I don't believe that's the case. I use Polycam, P-O-L-Y-Cam. The link is in the description of this video. This video is not sponsored by them. I just really enjoy using this application because it makes it so simple. There are many others like it on the App Store, and that said, this app specifically is iPhone only at the moment, because the later iPhones and iPads have this LiDAR sensor that uses this technology to capture these objects to this level of detail. That said, even though it's iOS only, there are Android apps available on the Google Play Store that you can use to achieve similar results. So let's get underway. I'll start by shading this ground here. We'll probably end up using some material similar to this one. In fact, let's just do exactly that. Let's use the same one. For some reason, my control key is not working. Okay. Let's see. Yep, perfect. Was able to link that up. Shout out to Arte y Espinacas, who so kindly looked that up the other day while we were on stream and let me know that that was the shortcut. I'll get this restaurant ground. The naming for all of these materials, if you happen to be really new to Blender and you're watching this, doesn't matter so much. It matters in as much as you're organized, but just because I'm naming it something doesn't mean that you have to name it that specific or you have to name it similarly. Just something to keep in mind. Like name it, name your objects whatever it makes sense for you to name them. We'll look for object ground here, or restaurant ground. Seems like we have two of them. It's fine. I will. I wish I had the foresight, or just the, not foresight, but I just wish I'd gone in and cleaned this up a little bit. But as I mentioned, it's been kind of a crazy week. I spent the most part of today and some of yesterday in Unreal Engine, which is a whole beast in and of itself. And yeah, that was quite something. Let's just call this asphalt and make it some dark color. And I think what I'll end up doing, just for the sake of saving time, and also because I'm not fully developed in my skills as a shader within Blender, is that I will then use some CCO textures, so Creative Commons licensed textures, to apply to some of these objects. And just so you can get an idea of what this looks like, because I did end up playing with it a little bit after the stream to get the thumbnail ready. This is what we're working with. I'll quickly push us back to look dev mode here, and then go into the layout view, which is a bit cleaner, and show you what it looks like rendered. So it's this dark sort of restaurant evening scene or night scene. Let's throw this background back up. Where is it? I believe it's here. Yes, there we go. And let me check on the chat. Cool. In case you're wondering where I exist outside of these streams, I'm going to throw up my bumps. There they are. So this is where you can find me on the web. I've mentioned this in previous streams, but if you find me on one social media, you can find all of them. I keep it simple, and they're all using my name. If you go on my Instagram specifically, you can find my art Instagram there too. I should add a bump for that, but that's cave, CAVE.342, and that's where I've uploaded a lot of my recent Blender tinkerings. And it's been quite fun. Something else I realized I should have looked into right before this stream is the fact that it's still streaming in 720p, I believe, or at least that's what the output ends up as. It's not something I'm going to bother with right now, but something to keep in mind for later, because I do watch these back and try to take notes. So, great. Enough yapping. Let's get to slapping some textures on these things and adding more stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to suggestions. This is obviously a drive-through. We've got some asphalt here. This would be the window where, you know, you'd get your item. Maybe this wouldn't be this color. Maybe this would be like some metal bar or something, just so that it's easy to clean. That's my take on it. And just to be sure, yep, that's what I thought. Let's not do that. Although that looks kind of funky. I did actually revisit this place just to see if I did see a trash bin there and stuff, and I did. I don't have it set up right now, such that it would make it easy for me to show you that. So you'll have to take my word for it until it's worth it for me to put that together for you. Yeah, but I am just trying to keep this simple because I do have a hard out at the end of the hour. Okay, I'm debating now whether or not to take. So I took a picture. I took a scan of a car. I think I'll just bring that in, even though it's extremely wonky, just so you can see it, and maybe we can find a way to fit it into the scene. But in the meantime, I hope you're doing well. This will be my reminder to save this project and your reminder to stretch if you've been sitting at your computer or on your bed for a while. Now is probably a good time to stretch. I'm quickly looking over at these scans, and cars are tricky to scan because, well, they're very reflective, and one other reason that they're really tricky to scan is because they have windows, and for some reason not for some reason, but because of the way that this LiDAR technology works, scanning through glass is very tricky, as well as scanning reflective surfaces. So I'm quickly uploading this car, to my Google Drive, and I'll bring it back. I'll bring it in. But in the meantime, let's see, what's something that we would see? Probably like a light pole or something over here. I think so. So let's just make one. Now, one of the things that I've been really into lately, in terms of Blender and just 3D modeling in general, is seeing what sort of pre-made assets are out there, as well as, obviously, as I mentioned a bit ago, photo scanning them myself. And something that I haven't quite gotten around to yet, but is definitely in the plans for the next couple of months, is to put together a library of assets that I've created myself. I am part of Aaron Dale's Discord server, and on that Discord server there are often, actually not often, but weekly battle royales, Blender royales rather, and these are just sessions in which a couple of Blender users would get together, usually about like 8 or 10 of us, and work on a project within the same prompt while in a group chat. And this is a really fun way to connect with people who are working on the same within the same project as you, but maybe doing something completely different. Sometimes there are modeling and talking is so tricky. Sometimes there will be group challenges where you can team up with someone and pass along a blend file and work on it together. Sometimes there are solo challenges where it's just you and your Blender build. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And the reason I bring it up is because for one of them, I actually already made a lamp. So maybe I can actually import that in, because for these projects at least I am a bit organized. So let's see. I'm going into the import prompt here. You won't be able to see this because I haven't deliberately set it up that way. But essentially, if you go to File and Link, and then you navigate in your directories to the file from which you wish to link from, in my case, it would be under Battle Royales, I believe, and we are in the month of April. Yes. And then you would navigate to your collection or search for the object that you're looking for. In this case, I did not name it. Darn me. Let's see, mesh. Yep, they're all just named cube. I mean, in my defense, the Blender Royales are 45-minute rounds. And so, time is of the essence. And as you can see here, cube. These things happen, but that's okay. It essentially looks about the same as this. The poll does, that is. Cool, so we've got one. Maybe I'm going to top view here, and I think we can just join this together. And I did that by hitting Control J. Are my screencast keys on? Shift A. They are not. Okay, I'll turn those on. You should now be able to see on the bottom left-hand corner what I'm doing in terms of what shortcuts I'm using, and that way I don't have to tell you each one. Although I probably will, because I forget. And we'll just make everything metal, because why not? Something I want to do quickly, at least for this, is we'll go here, and as you know, if you've watched the streams, I love this whole insetting and extruding in. I think it's great. So we'll do that. We'll separate this into its own thing and give it the light material that we made last stream. It's nothing crazy. Restaurant light. Nope, that's not what we want. Darn. Okay, we'll separate it. Do we have 3 separate things now? No. Just the one. Oh, hold up. Interesting. So I think maybe my screencast keys don't work within the shading editor, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this in the shading editor anyway, because it's not really, it's more of a modeling thing. We live and we learn, folks. We live and we learn. Lights. Perfect. And then we'll just set a light here to make it small. Maybe an area light makes sense. Oh, now one thing I do want to work on, or at least try this stream, is my friend Rob Decoded here on YouTube, who does great Blender tutorials and walkthroughs and just discussion videos. Watched the previous stream. What a lad. And he commented on it and let me know exactly what I needed to do in order to get the light to work properly. And by light, if you don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm just not being expressive today, I mean this nuggets sign. So last stream, if you remember, we were trying to get this to cycle between the on and off modes of blinking. And we had it set to like 0.1, and it would, be effectively off, and then 1, and then go 0.1, 1, so on and so forth. Now I tried doing that, and it didn't quite work out the way that I intended because I was doing it wrong. But Rob kindly dropped some comments and let me know what I needed to do. So I will eventually get to that. And by eventually, I mean right now. Because if I don't, I'm prone to forget. These things happen. Now I did say, let's see. This is Dakota's comment from the previous stream, which reads, for the blinking light, add a keyframe for full brightness, one for the lowest brightness, then another one for full brightness. Then in the graph editor with the mesh selected, press N modifiers, cycles. Okay. Let's try that. So we'll go to the beginning. We'll set a keyframe for fully on, like we are at the moment, by pressing I. Nope, that's not right. I. How the hell? I had the same issue last time. Insert keyframe. Okay, this is fully on. I did that by right-clicking and then pressing I. At the moment it said insert, but now it says replace. So this is fully on. We'll go 20 frames and go to not fully off, but just about. Right-click, insert keyframe, then one for fully on again. So we'll go 40 frames in, go back to full strength for this emission, and insert another keyframe. And now Rob says in the graph editor, so this is not the graph editor, this is the graph editor. With the mesh selected, press N. I haven't seen this before. Modifiers. Add modifier. Cycles. Oh my god. Okay. So now, oh, this is exciting. So now, if Rob's instructions were followed correctly, let's do this in this view. When I go to the beginning and start, oh yeah, that looks cool. Now, because I was there, I know that the animation, and so thanks Rob, by the way, Decoded, for dropping that comment in. I appreciate it. Now I know because I was there and I took the photo that this actually that happened quite a lot faster, and this graph editor is pretty similar to some of the other, if you've used graph editors before, if you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all, but I think the frequency was a lot faster than that. And I think we've just ramped up the brightness too, but you know what? Let's do this right. This is cool. All right, so we want it to start fully on. Set a keyframe by hitting I. I don't. If somebody wants to enlighten me as to why this isn't working the way I think it should be working. Like I want to hit I here. Oh, maybe it's over. Yes, perfect. Okay, so you hover over strength. I've enlightened myself. If you hover over the input value, then you can set a keyframe into that input value. And then we'll go to 0.1 strength, hit I. That sets another keyframe. Brilliant. We'll go another 5 frames go back to 1, hit I. So just hover over it. I was clicking on it previously and just typing in I like a fool. And so we have the mesh selected. This is good. This looks about as fast as it's blinking in real life. Or not real life, but in the physical world. We are in real life, you dummy. Eckhart Troll asks, are you streaming somewhere else besides YouTube and Twitch? Not to my knowledge, is a short answer. I sure hope I am not, because if that's the case, I just haven't told those people. But if I am somehow streaming somewhere else, hello, and thanks for joining wherever you happen to be joining. So I'm actually pretty jazzed, and this is a good point for, like, if Blender crashed, which I hope it doesn't, let's save right here, I'd be pretty darn happy because we got this blinking. Okay, now that looks excessive, so I was wrong. Surprise, surprise. This is the sort of thing that you can now let's space them out and let's see how this plays out. Adjust pretty what's the word, what am I trying to say here? You can adjust it pretty quickly. You know, just I'm just grabbing the keyframes and then shifting them along, hitting X to make sure that they are locked onto the X axis here so that they don't go up. If they were to go up, they would go up in strength, I believe is what this Y axis is. And we don't want that. So now let's play this back, see how. Yeah, that's a little less annoying. And I'm sure that there's something, actually, if I'm sure, maybe I should just try it. But now that I think about it, there must be a way to just create some noise here. Unfortunately, I don't. Where are the modifiers? They've disappeared. Modifiers. Well, if you know how to get them back, I would love to know, because I'm pretty sure there will be a some form of noise modifier that I can use. Eckhart Troll says in the chat, haha, I thought maybe Discord. And while I'm not streaming to Discord, this is as good a time as any to let you know that I've made a Discord server. It's been a long time coming. I've had several people actually ask me when I'm going to make one dedicated to the things that I'm working on. To some degree, I've done that privately, but now this is public. So if you look up my name, which is the name of this channel, you can find it on Discord. And if you look in the description of this video, you can find it too. In fact, I will post that in the chats here. So if you want to join, I encourage you to do so. We're just starting out. And the reason I can't post this is because I'm looking at a video from the past. That would be a good reason why I can't post it to the chat. There we go. So I'll post it in the YouTube chat as well. It's posted in the Twitch chat already. Feel free to join. It's a community server. The hopes are to combine the different worlds that I've been a part of the past 27 years that happen to use Discord or want to get on Discord, and just, you know, this is meant to be the best part of a party where you meet a friend and they meet your friend's friends and everybody gets along, and maybe they go on to work on some cool project together or hang out. So that's the hopes in that, just to keep the self-promo short, because hello, you're already on this channel. You know what you're here for. Cool, so this is blinking. I wanted to get some a noise modifier. I don't know what's happening here with the modifiers and why they're not showing up. I'll have to dig into that, but I don't want to hold us up too long now that we've got this in, because if I add a noise modifier here, then I can somewhat procedurally or randomly get these blinks to be different, so that it just doesn't look like, you know, some marquee at, I don't know, in Vegas or something. But we'll leave it as is for now. Also, now that this is lit up, this nuggets sign, this thank you, your total is 341 sign is getting kind of jealous and wants to be lit up too. So let's do that. And to do that, we can drag this image texture into the emission socket of the principled BSDF shader and throw a color ramp in between, and that should allow us to influence the, why is this happening like this? Influence, I see. Everything is emissive now. That should allow us to influence the strength of the emission. I'll have to come back to this project and name everything accordingly, but that's very obviously not going to happen right now. And this is not working as intended because I thought that that could work. Perhaps not. But, oh, it's because this is not, the hip bone is not connected to the whatever bone. Let's see. Okay, now it's lit up. That's not bad. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine with me. It is a screen after all. I feel like we need some form of light here. We do have this pole, and the pole is casting very weak light, so let's bump that up. Let's make it maybe 65 watts. This is obviously not researched. I'm just trying it out, and if you've seen Decoded's latest video, which I believe dropped today, I won't spoil it for you, but something that he talks about there is that, you know, if it looks good and it works for the render, unless you're trying to make this render, you know, game friendly, or unless the client is going to ask you for the files afterwards or something like that, then why does it matter if it's absolutely perfect? If it gets the point across, like, what's the point of spending so much time on textures if they're not going to be seen? Could you imagine if I just sat here working on those poles? Right, look, see, we can't even, this is a great example of that. We can't even see this pole right here, this light, from this angle. Now, if I were to do an animation and set up the scene, which I think is what I'll end up doing to some degree here, then sure, it matters. But at the same time, if it were just going to be for the thumbnail, for example, then what's the point of having that pole there? Sometimes, you know, we do things to scratch and satisfy our own egos, and I fall prey to that quite a bit, and let perfectionism get in the way of professionalism, and of just having fun and making art for art's sake, not for a post or for something else. At the end of the day, it's mostly, if not fully, about self-expression, right? So just keep that in mind. I am behind the scenes downloading the car that I was telling you about earlier. I photo scanned this car maybe like 2 days ago. And now I'm bringing it into my Blender folder so that I can have it for use in different projects. And now we'll bring it in here. So while I've made videos before, and I have made more videos for other people than I have for myself, while I'm no stranger to being on camera or being recorded, I couldn't quite get over how much I said in the previous streams, and that's fine because it's a stream and ultimately this is going on YouTube, and I don't really care, but at the same time I do care, so I will try not to do that as much for my own sake. I think it's a small change I can try to enact into my life that will bring about some returns for me emotionally. So check it out. There's that car I was telling you about, and it looks awful up close. This car was fine. It wasn't crashed into or anything like that. This is just a byproduct of the scanning situation, even though it was quite a foggy and overcast day. It just looks all riled up. But that's fine. We can clean it up just like we clean the other ones. Here's some of the ground that was next to the car that wasn't actually part of it. Yet somehow it ended up in the scan. I found that with these scans, you can often get these warps if you bump the trajectory of your scanning. So if I was walking, or when I was walking around here, I feel like I remembered tripping over my own feet a little bit right at this point, and that's probably what caused that, because the phone and the scan need to have some consistency in placement, and if you make a bump, it can throw off the scan and application's understanding of what is where and what is what, and that's how you end up with these random bits of ground on the roof of your car. Delete some faces, check it out. Great. We'll do the same thing that we did for the trash bin, which is set the origin to geometry so that it stays relatively in the center of the car. We can switch that again later. But we do this for the purpose of then being able to bring the car into tab mode. Let me do this in the layout, in the layout workspace, so that you can see the screencast keys. That's the whole point. So we'll go into edit mode here and go into box selection. Make sure that we're lined up properly and drag a box around the car. And I just realized that I'm not in X-ray mode, and that helps quite a bit if you want the whole car. Great, so I'll line up again, draw a box around the car. Double check my work. Looks all right. Control I. Actually, there's two ways of doing this. Just like there's several ways of doing anything in Blender. You can either hit Control I to select the inverse X and then delete the faces, or how do I undo this? I think this pie menu add-on is seeing its last days because it just continues to hang on me when I'm doing things. Or, oh, what just happened there? Weird. Interesting. Or you can select this and separate it into its own thing, and then grab the other part. Wait, did that not work how I expected? Yep. And then grab this other bit and delete it. So whatever floats your boat. So grab this car and set it down. Ka-tunk. Let's rotate it. And we can pretend it was parked here. Let's see how that looks. Oh, looks like it's floating. And it's not a DeLorean, so there's no reason why it should be floating. We can pretend it's parked, maybe. And let's see how that looks. Not bad. I mean, looks like a car, right? And you can't even see that if I turn on this look dev mode. You can see that the hubcap is showing through the other side of this scan here. And that obviously this side is just destroyed. But from this side it looks fine. And just because this will bother me, and because I think it's visible, I want to go into sculpting mode and show you that even though these scans are kind of messed up, you can really easily fix them up by grabbing something like the smooth tool here. Where are you? I'm sure I'm going over it. Here it is. And just smooth it out. I'm doing this with my mouse, but you could just as easily, and actually you could probably with more ease, do it using a Wacom tablet, a pen of some sort. And I've even discovered that you can, through, sorry, just gotta quickly get that bit there, through casting, or essentially remote connection from your computer to your, from your iPad to your computer, you can do some I think pressure sensitive sculpting on your iPad screen into Blender. So now that we've cleaned that up a bit, and by a bit I really mean like not at all apparently. Let's see. Yeah, unfortunately it's all there. I'd love to just select just the parts that are creating this fake roof over the car and then push them down, but I'm not sure that that's going to work the way I intend. So we'll let it go for now. So we brought a car into the scene, not bad. If we wanted to, we can try setting up some lights here, point light. And then maybe we can turn that red. Let's just select the color of that red right here. That's not going to work the way we think it will. Increase the value. Yeah, and because it's not actually emitting light, it doesn't give us the look or the effect that we're going for, but for the purposes of sketching, it's not bad. At the end of the day, we're not making a game screen. Or just a game, so it's fine. It's got those two lights. This person's maybe waiting for their Burger King. Or for the Burger King. Great. And let's keep working away. be interesting to either make an interior or find a photo of an interior and bring it in here. So I'll keep that as a side note. And maybe one way of doing that is interior. Oh, that didn't work the way I thought it would. But what has so far, honestly? Let's try it again. Maybe not. I can't draw. Oh well. It's a bit cleaner. It's looking all right. Let's go back to camera view. Rotate this slightly on the X so that the card doesn't look like it's bumping up. Not bad. Not bad. Maybe something that will make this make more sense. The reason I keep stalling or stopping rather is because it just feels like something's off and wrong, and I think I've just realized what it is. If this were the interior, or because this is the interior, it kind of makes sense for there to be some light being emitted from here. So I think maybe one thing we can do is go into this view. We'll hide the car for now. Let's call this car, just so I don't forget what it is. And I'll quickly grab these two lights, the car, press M, collection, car. That way, when I collapse all of these, I can quickly toggle the car on and off. Great. So go here, select this face. You guessed it, we're in setting. That will give us our frame. Push it back a bit. We will create a loop cut. Bring this to about this side. I think that makes sense. Select this face. Inset it just a bit more. Push it back even more. Select this face. Push it back just a little bit. And these two are meant to be windows into the interior. So while I don't want to bother with that at the moment, just because I'm kind of just feeling the therapy of just putting stuff together, and don't want to break that away with making decisions at the moment. We can, I guess this is can just worry about the light that's being emitted from the inside for now. And imagine, I mean, this light could be of all sorts of colors. I'm guessing maybe in there they've got some like grungy greenish light, and we'll push this up to 65 because why not? And so now when we bring the car back, the car will have some light hitting it, which is what was bothering me before. If I turn that light that I just added off, we'll call this interior light, restaurant, or rarnt. Ugh. When my keyboard runs out of battery, because I'm using a Bluetooth keyboard, the key repeat just ruins my day. Restaurant. Okay, we'll just leave it at restaurant. Great, so now we're getting some light coming out from in there. And maybe this whole car, like, I don't think that it makes sense for the car to be like that close. Other cars surely need to come by, and that's not nearly enough space for that to happen. So we'll move it. You could even get super cheeky, duplicate it, rotate it 180 degrees. We'll delete those taillights in a moment. Maybe put it back and rotate it just a little bit. I don't think we need the taillights. Let's see. So if you know Ian Hubert, subscribe to his Patreon, because I think that the work that he does is just incredible within Blender and just in general. And he recently shared an auto car generator, which is a tool that with a click of a few buttons generates random cars. So I think what I'll do for the next stream is I'll play with that some and see if I can't populate this parking lot with random cars, and also set one up here just to really sell the scene that this is a drive-through. I'll also, maybe I don't need to scan cars anymore using that, but I'll try to scan some cars too, so that I can have those assets and then make them available for you all to use in your own projects. And this bin, this car, and this electrical box will all be available soon online for you to download, if you so fancy. We've got about 4 minutes left on stream. Eckhart Troll says, these two cars are quite the pair. They are indeed. Yeah, we've got a couple minutes left on stream, but in the meantime, if you've been hanging out, I appreciate you. If you're watching this later, I appreciate you. And even if you're not watching this, I appreciate you. I think something we can do for next time is work on the shading, and I can show you what I meant earlier by using CCO textures, Creative Commons License 0 textures. And essentially what that ends up looking like, I have this add-on called Lily's Surface Scraper, or Scrapper, and it allows me to, with one click, go to a website, with a lot of free textures for download, and I can then find one. So I'm searching for some now. Let's see, this one, and I can import from my clipboard a texture. It'll ask me now what resolution I want that texture to be. I set it, and there we go. Now we have a texture. It doesn't look great at the moment, and that's because we need to scale it properly and the like, but we can do that. Just gotta find where. Let's throw in let's throw in a vector math node here. And I think this is how you would do it. Aaron, Sharan, if you're watching this, please don't kill me. But I think this will work, for at least for what I'm trying to do here. Let's just quickly check. I mean, it doesn't look like any restaurant I'd want to pull up into, but it's not bad. It's a start. It doesn't wrap around properly here, so maybe we would need to let's see, set it to instead of UV object coordinates. No, definitely not. Let's go back to UV and set these to, like, what happens if we go 10? Nope. 100? Definitely not. 2? It's alright. I'll take it. And let's do one last quick one, just to prove the power of this tool, which is, by the way, free. It's one of the better free add-ons out there for Blender, and I can say with full certainty that a lot of them are great. Oh, Decoded is here on stream. I just mentioned you, buddy. OpenGameArt.org is good too. I'll check that out. And Andromeda Lady says, I watch a lot of things at the same time. Sorry if my attention is divided. No need to apologize. I appreciate you joining. OpenGameArt.org. I think I've heard of that one from my friend Colton Ogden. Yes, OpenGameArt. This is a good one. And Colton, if you're interested, teaches a course in game development. It's an introduction to game development. It's called, it's called Introduction to Game Development by Colton Ogden with CS50. So if you look that up on YouTube, that's C as in computer, S as in science, 50. I actually shot and edited that course in its entirety, and it's actually one I'm pretty proud of. And yeah, my buddy Colton teaches it, so I'm gonna quickly, the game development, I'm gonna very quickly look that up so I can paste it in the chat. Yes. So let's see, where's the YouTube chat? This is it. And where is the Twitch chat? This is it. Dakota says, I was watching on YouTube, but I think that stream is behind. Yeah, I'm using Streamlabs, and it's not super different from OBS, but there's still a couple things here and there that I have to suss out that I haven't been able to quite yet. So last thing I'm going to do before I head off is some ground texture here, and I think I'll just quickly look for some like asphalt type texture. That is marble, so not asphalt. And I'll just import it from the clipboard here. Do the 1K variant. We don't need to get super detailed with this, and it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look terrible. You know what I mean? We'll add another vector math node, and I'll figure out how to do this later. But the whole point, at least my whole thing with Blender, is that you can get a lot done without knowing very much, which is, if that's not evident yet, then damn. Like, none of these things are what I would call, like, none of these moves that I'm making in the last couple minutes are what I would call legit Blender moves, and it's not something that I would recommend that you do for all your pieces or for client work. But I'm still getting my head around a lot of these things, and it just makes it so easy to iterate that everything is, to some degree, non-destructive. So it's a lot of fun to play with, and I would say don't let not doing things by the book slow you down, or reading the book even. Just break things, because that's a great, fantastic way of learning. I think I'm happy where this is at the moment. Decoded, wait, since you're here, I want to show you that thanks to you, we've got a blinking nugget sign. Hell yeah. I'm happy with that. But as I was saying, I had a hard out a couple of minutes ago. But this is really fun. I'm going to continue doing these streams because it helps me think through and talk through my process, which is something that I look forward to. Every time I end the stream, I kind of have this like afterglow, as one would after going to a concert or something, because I just feel like it's a lot of fun, especially when people join. So I appreciate all of you that have joined, and I look forward to the next one, in which we'll hopefully have a better idea of this scene. I'm happy to take suggestions and work towards those. But if not, I'm just going to keep chugging along, and as things pop up that I could do here or there, I will do them. And I think by the end of, I think I'm going to shoot for doing 7 of these, so it feels like one a day. And then by the 7th one, I'll just call it and move on to the next project, because otherwise there's just so many things that I can continue tweaking and adding and incorporating, and then next thing we know, we have the new GTA or Cyberpunk or something, and well, that would be fun. I'm sure that there are other attractive projects to be working on. If you want to stay in touch with me, feel free to follow me and connect with me on social media. I go by Arturo J. Real on all my accounts, and as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I just started a new Discord, in which not only will I be letting you know when I'm streaming, but I'll also be sharing resources that are useful for me, or things that I've learned, and it's a great way to connect with a community of friends that both support and uphold me and could do the same for you. It's a bunch of great people, so definitely want to see you there if you would like to join. With that said, I'm closing us out. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next one.